Good day everyone, welcome back to another video. Hi, my name is Roelyn Maghacut, and in today's video, we will talk about classifications of theater. However, I will only select two. Today's chosen classification is the Asian and the Philippine theater. Before proceeding with the commentary, let me tell you what is theater. Theater is a deliberate performance created by live actors and intended for a live audience, typically making use of a scripted language. So, theater should be a present time performance. Today's topic focuses on the distinctive theatrical practices of the Asian and the Philippine theater. In today's commentary, I will show you three compilations of theatrical forms in Asia: the Peking Opera of China, Kabuki Theater of Japan, and the Wayang Kulit. So, let us go. Before I start my commentary, I want to apologize for some noises since my environment is a little too noisy. So, let us start watching. So, Peking Opera, Kabuki, and Wayang Kulit. Peking Opera of China.
Peking Opera of China is also known as the Beijing Opera that still follows traditional Chinese arts and stresses meaning rather than precise
So,
speech. The opera
in this
artist's
video,
goal is to make every
the
performance
narration
and
is talking
section
about
beautiful in
the
every
dancer
movement that
in
they
its
create.
origin and
The performer's
why
vocal
they are
techniques,
dancing
as well
this
as
and the
rhythms
colors that they
and
are going.
melodies,
They
vary
are
depending on
using
his or her
what the
voice.
colors means.
Rhythms adhering
So
to basic,
the Asian
strict
theater
conventions that are
incorporates
based on
many rich
real-life
and ancient
experience,
traditions. For
presented in an
ancient
artistic
theater,
and symbolic manner.
for Asian theater, music and dance is inseparable. Most of the time, when the music is very loud, it means that it's driving away evil forces. So, in Asia, it is quite common to have the fighting scene of the evil and the good. It centralized most drama in southern and southern south in southern and southeastern Asia. So we will skip to the this video is a 10-minute video, but and I have already watched this, so we will skip to other parts.
Wayang Kulit.
So
Wayang Kulit
this is the
is
Wayang
where
Kulit.
Dalang sings
So
tribute songs
Wayang Kulit
at regular
is
intervals
means
during performance.
puppetry. Wayang
Also,
means
whenever
puppetry,
accompanied by
while
the full
kulit means
gamelan
skin.
ensemble. Often, a single instrument accompanies the singer who never more than three or four. The major dramatic function of gamelan music is to accompany stage action. Entrances, exits, and fight scenes are executive in time to gamelan music.
So the screen that the puppets are moving, that the puppets are used in foreshadowing is called a layar or killer, while the puppeteers are called as dalangs. Wayang kulit is usually accompanied by a gamelan orchestra. So wayang kulit is an art form traditionally performed in Indonesia and some parts of Asia. They often tell stories of the Ramayana and Mahabharata. So they are usually made out of buffalo hide. The handles are made out of buffalo horns. The gunungan is used during scenic transitions and also used to signify natural elements. So the gunungan is like it is shaped in a triangular form used for transitions for next scenes. So in Asia, puppet theater and closely related shadow theater are considered classical traditions, whereas in the West, puppetry is largely a children's entertainment. So now we will move to another theatrical form. The last is the kabuki theater.
Manner which combines acting, singing, and dancing. This rich blend of music, mime, dance, costume, and props has been in existence for almost 4 centuries.
So the kabuki theater is a traditional theater form which originated in the Edo period of the beginning of the 17th century
Was founded
and
in
was particularly
1662
popular among townspeople.
as Shinto priests.
Originally, both men and women acted in kabuki plays, but eventually only male actors performed the plays, a tradition that is still present. So, male actors who specialize in women's role are called unagata. Two other major roles are aragato, the rough style, and waguto, the soft style. So, kabuki plays are about historical events and moral conflicts in relationship of the heart. The actors speak in monotone voice and are accompanied by traditional instruments. Most Asian theater scripts are more of a way to showcase production elements than a way to tell a complex story. Many Western scripts have their own literary merit and are widely read, but in Asia, the scripts are rarely read. They don't hold much value as literature, but only in production. While there is a strong emphasis on telling a story, in Asian theater, the stories are simply and loosely plotted. In Asia, puppet theater and closely related shadow theater are considered classical traditions. So I am talking about this again, whereas in the West, puppetry is largely a children's entertainment. The acting in the Asian theater is highly stylized and techniques were frequently passed down from father to son. In addition, the Asian theater is very much grounded in its ancient traditions and its religious roots. Many scripts are 300 to 400 years old and still performed today with few revisions. Most of the theatrical practices have religious origins and started in temples. In moving from the sacred to the profane, from street to stage, they retained a very spare approach, but the often extravagant customs, always loaded with meaning, serve as a decor. Also, all the actors in this plays are men. Costumes and its specific colors, play a big role in Asian theater. The symbolism of the colors enables the audience to identify the various categories of character. So, noble heroes are associated with green, red with villains, black the color of evil and death, or for demons, lastly, orange for women. As is the case for most dramatic rituals in Asia, costume is an integral part of the show, or at least its process. The layers of kimonos are stitched onto the performer. The mask, smaller than a human face, is adapted to suit their face. It conditions acting. The eye slits are so narrow that little light enters, prompting the actor to internalize his part. So the Asian theater is always backed by musicians and a chorus which chants and recites. The very slow, almost weightless movement of the leading player, accompanied by the second role, unfolds on a stage which always consists of a raised platform covered by a roof. A gangway connects the stage to the wings. A movement of the curtains punctuates players and entry and exit. So the usage of mask and overdoing of makeup is a common practice in Asian theater. So most of Asian theater is accompanied with some music and played through puppetry, facial expressions, hand gestures, and even without vocals. So, and also that fight between good and evil is central to most drama in southern and southeastern Asia. So that is for all for the Asian theatrical practices. Now we will move on to the next theatrical practices that I have chose, and it's the Philippine theater. So the Philippine theater, long before the different forms of theater we enjoy today like street plays and musicals, largely influenced by the West, the Philippines has had many types of theater through the years. So the Philippines is a rich performing arts tradition, from legends passed down through generations to intellectual debates, performance art, from pagan practices to the deeply religious celebrations influenced by the years of colonization. So here's a look about through the colorful history and evolution of theater in the Philippines. But in this video, I will only talk about one theatrical form in the Philippines, and it is sarsuela. So sarsuela is a type of melodrama, usually in three acts, that uses alternately spoken and sung words. It was the Spanish influence that started the sarsuela, but it was also this colonization that led Filipinos to incorporate nationalistic overtones in the art. So this resulted in the arrest of several prominent writers such as Aurelio Tolentino and Pascual Poblete, and eventually the shutdown of Sarsuela companies during the American occupation as proof of its importance in the Philippine culture. So most Sarsuela act is political stories since the colonization. So this stage plays is not surprising for a country that was under Spanish rule for 300 years. So in general, the theatrical practices of the Philippines is rooted from the colonization and religious connections, as well as the political and societal issues. This is mostly what centralized the dramas in the Philippines. However, the Philippines has also other theatrical forms such as the vaudeville or vaudeville. This form of theater was an American import in the pre-war era, but became uniquely Filipino with the indigenization of the name. Like its American counterpart, vaudeville featured a variety of musical numbers, comedic and dramatic skits and song, and dance numbers. So this happened during the American era. Then another theatrical form is the traditional folk dances. So traditional folk dances, since there are many islands in the Philippines, there's a diverse collection of the folk dances. So one example of this folk dance, a very famous example, is the tinikling, which is similar to singkil, but tinikling uses bamboo poles that dancers must weave through. It is supposed to mimic the movement of the local tickling birds. Another theatrical form is the sanakolo or passion play. This is usually played during the Lent season, a dramatization of life and death of Jesus Christ presented to the community. Another theatrical form is the moro moro. It is a street drama that usually lasted for several days and presented both secular themes like love and vengeance and the Spanish-influenced religious theme of the conflict between Christians and Moros. Another is doplo. Doplo is a poetic debate presented through song and dance which originated from indigenous courtship customs. Poets use proverbs and riddles to present their suit to the woman of their choice. These ultimately evolved into a more formal debate on issues and started to be called as balagtasan. The last theatrical form I will talk about is the epic poetry. So, epic poetry is considered the highest point of Filipino folk literature and dates back to pre-colonial period. So, epic poetry is there even before the colonization began. So, most epics are stories of adventures in nature where there is a common hero, or the story is about weddings, baptisms, and wakes. So, epic poems that are famous are Biag ni Lamang, the national epic of the Ilocano people and notable for being the first epic to be recorded in written form after being passed on from generation to generation. So, overall, the two theatrical practices that I have watched and made use as a commentary in my commentary video, the Asian and Filipino theatrical practices is very much related to the religious roots, and they vary in the color. So color is very much significant to them so that the audience may know what the character plays. So the color is plays a huge role in in the theatrical practices of the Asian and Philippine theater. Also, music is very inseparable in Asian and Philippine theater. So, thank sorry. So, thank you for watching my video. See you on my next video. Bye.